Hello, and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. Today's podcast number 1892. The topic is nutrition, and the title is How to Increase Consistency. I did a 15-minute consultation recently, and I'm offering these now because I really have been enjoying them. I like getting to meet everybody via Zoom, kind of chit-chat a little bit about what your goals are, talk about what your struggles are. I like it because I get the sense of helping somebody. I also get to know more about content that could be possibly beneficial for the podcast. And it just helps me refine my knowledge, learn more things. It's very fun. So I'm enjoying it. So thank you to everybody who has been doing the 15-minute consultations. Again, they're free. You can sign up via email at brutalirongym@gmail.com. So in this recent 15-minute consultation, it's a female. She's physically fit, meaning she's active, but she's not as lean as she wants to be, and she doesn't have as much muscle as she wants to be. But she goes to the gym kind of regularly, and she watches what she eats kind of regularly, but things just haven't progressed as well as she would have hoped. In our discussion, she said the following. I track my foods, but it feels overwhelming trying to enter all the foods I have for every meal each day. And the app doesn't always have the foods I'm eating. And I don't always have time to track my foods, which then makes me feel like I'm failing, which lessens my motivation to keep trying. I've listened to your podcast, and I know I need to be more consistent to lose fat and build more muscle. And I do have good days. But I feel that I'm not consistent enough to get the results I want, but the pressure I feel is consistent. Actually, it's overwhelming, and I just quit. Bummer. That is not a good feeling. So it was bummed for her to hear that she was struggling with the tracking component so much so that it's causing her to kind of just shut down and not try. So in our discussion, I said, well, you said you've been tracking some. Can we look at what you have been tracking? Maybe we can see some patterns, maybe we can see some things, and we can identify some ways in which we can make things a little easier for you. So we looked over the last 2 weeks. Some days were missing, some days entirely were missing, some meals were missing, and she couldn't really recall what she had in those meals. And that was one of the kind of things I saw in the patterning was her foods are different, every day. So in 2 weeks, I don't think she had the same breakfast or the same lunch or the same dinner, or she had partially the same breakfast. Just for simplification, maybe she had eggs, oats, and a banana. The next day she had eggs and a banana but didn't have any oats. Then the next day she had the oats and a banana but didn't have the eggs. And it was like, oh my gosh, it was chaotic, and that would definitely feel overwhelming. And then she would miss meals, but the meals she missed were random. Some days she would have breakfast but no lunch, and then have dinner. Some days she would skip breakfast, have lunch, no dinner, then a big snack, and it was just a little chaos. And due to the tracking inconsistency, her calories and protein appeared to be very inconsistent. But what we talked about was, even though the foods were different all the time, the calories weren't too far different. They were different enough that we want to address it. But they weren't crazy different. It wasn't like she was having 1,000 calorie meals and then 200 calorie meals. They were all within roughly, say, 250 to 600 calories. And the days she didn't have stuff tracked, she actually ate more often, even though there was nothing added. She's like, oh, I did have dinner, I went with friends, but I didn't know what to add, so I didn't add anything. And then oh yeah, I had lunch that day, but I went out with some coworkers, I didn't know what to add, so I just didn't add anything. So on those days, for example, what I mean by that is you look at the app and you're like, oh gosh, she only had 800 calories that day. And it's like, oh no, she actually had a whole nother meal. She might have had 1,400 to 1,600 calories, which puts her closer in line with the other days. So she was actually more consistent than what the app was even showing. However, due to the inconsistency that we see in the app, and the app is the only thing she's tracking, it looks as though she's way off. So we talked about what some corrections that she could make would be. And this would be the same for you. If you're struggling to create consistency in nutrition and you feel as though you're struggling in the similar ways, where the meals are kind of a little scattered all over the place. Sometimes you track, sometimes you don't track, and if you don't track, you don't remember if you did eat or what you ate, and it feels overwhelming. It feels like you don't really have a grasp on what's going on, very reactionary, and you're unsure if you're actually doing everything right. The corrections that I suggested to her that you could try was for each meal type, meaning breakfast, midday snack, lunch, dinner, evening snack. For each meal type, make known options. I asked her to make 2 options. She decided to work with me, so I'm going to make 2 options as well. So we'll have 4 for each meal, but I wanted her to practice the concept after our discussion. So we're going to end up having 4 options for each meal category. So she'll have 4 breakfasts, 4 lunch, 4 midday snacks, 4 evening snacks. And I'm going to help her with options for on the go, like what to have. For example, I asked where she lives and where she works. So that way, whenever she goes out with coworkers to lunch, I know the restaurants that are nearby. I can help her pick healthy meals at those restaurants. So the more I can help and know, the better. But that was the first step we did, was to make options for at-home prepared meals or on-the-go meals. And what we want to do then is, for each of those options, we're going to enter them into her nutrition tracking app and save them. So we're creating meal profiles. So breakfast 1, breakfast 2, breakfast 3, breakfast 4. Lunch 1, lunch 2, lunch 3, lunch 4. And then what she's going to do now is, when she goes in and enters her breakfast, she just selects breakfast 3 and moves on. She doesn't have to add 7 individual foods or try to make sure, okay, did I have a medium apple with skin? Did I have a large apple without skin? Did I have, and there's a million options of all these different foods. So let's just make meal profiles. Let's save those. And then it's just a one click. Okay, I had breakfast 2, lunch 1, midday snack 3, dinner 4. Done. It's that quick, that easy. Boom, boom, boom. So that's what we're going to do. And then in making the profiles, we're going to see if they're the right calories and protein, of course. But that makes it so much more simple, because now she has some variety, but not so much variety that she's not consistent. And we made the tracking so much easier now that they're meal profiles. She can just single click the options rather than have to add all the individual foods. Then I said, when you have a new meal, create a meal profile for it. And now all of a sudden, she's only having to add a meal, each individual ingredient at a time, maybe once, twice, 3 times a week, rather than every single day, all the time. So make a meal profile for it. And, if it's, so say she goes to a restaurant, I don't even know, Bonefish, is that a restaurant? I think that was one that was nearby her work, Bonefish Grill or something. So type Bonefish Grill meal 1, or Bonefish Grill BFG, chicken and broccoli, whatever it might be, whatever she wants. Just make a title for it, make a profile for it, and then every time she goes to Bonefish Grill, she can just have that same meal. Maybe she gets bored with that, so she can make another one. But the idea is to start making meal profiles, to start making options that we know what the calories and protein are, to create more structure, but allow for the variety. The other thing we're going to do is, on her phone, in the notes feature, we wanted to make a time block distribution checklist. That's a really long word, long title there. But we have a checklist where we're going to break her day into 3 sections. The first, say, 5 to 6 hours of being awake, then the next 5 to 6 hours, then the next 5 to 6 hours. And then in each third of the day, she's going to have a third of her calories. And then eventually, as we get used to that, we're going to add protein to have a third of her protein. But right now, just a third of her calories. So let's say, for example, she's supposed to have 1,800 calories a day. The first 5 to 6 hours, she has 600 calories. The second 5 to 6 hours, 600 calories. The final 5 to 6 hours, 600 calories. And I said, what I want you to do is, on days where you don't track in the app, or you're overwhelmed, you're stressed, just pull that notes feature up And it would be great for you to kind of post that on your homepage somewhere, on swipe left or right of your screen, make it easy to access, and just say, you know what, I didn't have time to go in the app and track my foods, but I know I hit 600 calories. I'm going to hit check for that time block. So she doesn't even have to enter meals. She doesn't have to go into the food app. She just hits the one button to know that she got her calorie goal for that window. And then at the end of each week, in her tracking app and her phone checklist, we're going to mark just how many days we hit our calorie and protein targets. Now, she can make that in a separate note. She can put that anywhere she wants. Doesn't matter. Now, for my client, I'm going to have her do her online journal. For all my clients, they have a Google Doc that they can write in 24/7. I answer everything they write and do reviews and stuff every week. But so she'll be tracking it there. You can set that up for yourself if you want. Google Doc is nice because you can access it from your laptop. You can access it from your phone. It's 24/7. Everything you ever enter is all in one location, so it's easy to recall and look at older information. So really enjoy that. But that is what we're going to be doing, is at the end of every week say, okay, it looks like Monday I hit my time blocks. Tuesday I was able to enter my food. Wednesday I entered my food. Everything went really well. Thursday I started to enter my food, missed dinner, but I time block marked that I did have enough calories for dinner. So I know Thursday was good, even though I don't have it fully tracked in my app. And then Friday, I missed a couple meals here or there. Maybe I had a bad meal. Maybe I went out with some friends and overate. Who cares? The idea is that now she's only messing up once or twice a week, and she can see way, way, way more consistency, and that's going to be super motivating. That's our goal, is to have a little bit of structure with the least amount of effort needed to increase consistency in tracking, which then increases motivation and consistency in our habits, which then helps push us to reach the goals that we want. So in summary, what we're going to be doing is creating known options and selecting from them. This is going to lessen the randomness of what she eats. We're creating meal profiles for easier food tracking. We're going to create a time block checklist for non-tracking days so we can at least still be sure that we're hitting our calories and protein there and have less stress at the end of the week thinking that we've missed more than we actually did. And then we actually review at the end of each week. So that way she can see what's happening. Are there any patterns to anything she's missing that we can then address and improve in the future? So that was some advice I gave in a recent consultation to increase consistency. I thought that would be helpful. Try any of those things. If you have any questions, just shoot me an email at brittlirongym@gmail.com. You can also shoot me an email if you want to sign up for the free 15-minute consultation. Okay. If you like the podcast, please share the podcast. If you like the podcast, please consider donating to support the podcast, which you can do on our website. Also, if you like the information we share in the podcast, you can find more from us on our social media channels. You can find us and follow us on Instagram and YouTube under the name Brittle Iron Gym. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.